revolving line, or whatever you want to call it, the chorus line. If it is, it's not what you take when you leave this world behind, but what you leave behind when you go. And wouldn't you like to be the person who left behind your passion for people to be inspired by, your poetry for your children to see, or a song that you recorded on your phone that was all about you just singing your heart out, whether you were the greatest singer or not. You just lived passionately. And you weren't afraid to express. You know, the wonderful thing about a show like Quantum Leap that is one of my favorite shows of all time. In the final episode of this series, there's a character named Sam, the lead character, is talking to this bartender who's really not a bartender, he's something more significant within the space-time continuum. And Sam says, after all these leaps and leaping into people's lives and helping someone with this or that, the bartender says, do you really think all you've done is change a couple of lives? And Sam says basically yes. And the bartender, Al is the name in this episode, he says, well, at the risk of overinflating your ego, you've done more. The lives you touched others, and those lives others. You've done a lot of good, and you can do a lot more. And that's really where each of us has something to offer in life. Let's say that, taking that example of just singing something on your phone one day, singing your heart out in your car, and one of your children, a 5-year-old kid, hears mommy singing that song in the car in the video when you play it for her. And she says, oh, mommy, that's so cool. And she's inspired to sing. So she's inspired to sing, and she sings her heart out, goes on to choir, goes on to college, becomes a singer, a professional, and even maybe moves into producing, inspires people along the way by her performing, no matter where she came from in life, no matter what of race, creed, economics, social status, whatever. She went on and pursued her dream. And that inspired other people. And then she supported other people in giving them a chance to pursue their dream. But for her, it all started with mom singing a little ditty on a phone that she was passionate about. Life is cyclical, and we help each other, and we support each other. We have to have rules, but we also have to break certain rules as long as they are for the good of pursuing our dreams. Meaning, if someone says, well, you've got to submit your video to, you've got to get a demo reel and submit it to an agent, and that's how you become a working actor. Well, that's not necessarily how you have to become a working actor. It's not a law. That's an established process. Laws are different. And how you achieve things is based on you writing your own path for it. And as long as that's not hurting other people or essentially oppressing other people in the process or damaging other people in the process, you should feel free to follow your path and find your best way to follow that path. And I encourage people to do that. And Vicky's an inspiration for that to me. That's why I really hope she has a wonderful birthday. I know she's going to have lunch with her sons today. Her son James works with me. Her son Chris is involved in music to some degree. I'm not completely sure the capacity, but he's involved in music to some degree. Her son James works hard with me, does his best, and I'm really impressed and appreciative for what he does. But they see her and they see what she does, and I hope that inspires them along the way. I know she certainly inspires me, and I know a lot of people that see her out there doing her thing, being a go-getter, that impresses them. And I'm sure there's someone in your life like that too. Don't be afraid to congratulate them. If they've stepped outside of the box that you feel like you're confined in, let them remind you that the only box is the one you've created for yourself. And we're already going to eventually end up in a box, conceivably, by the normal standard of things. Don't live in a box while you're alive. Live outside of the box. Dream big. Like someone like Vicky, or someone in your life who's important to you. I started doing this video thing because, let me see if this is still recording. Yeah, see how much time I have left on this thing here. Oh, I've been talking my butt off for over 20 minutes now. I'm sorry about that. I'll probably have to cut this video up. It's all right. The point is that I've been listening a lot to podcasts lately about voiceover work. And I was listening to an episode of the podcast, by the way, is called Voice Acting Mastery, with a gentleman named Crispin Freeman. If I recall, I will put a link in this video to that website, because it's a great website for people who are interested in voiceover and interested in developing their talents. And he's not one of those guys who says you just rush into it, because he wants you to have the best foot to put forward. But it's about, starting that training and that passion for it and developing it more. And you can still do stuff along the way that's not necessarily pro grade, but prepares you for it. So it's not just like, okay, start training and wait 2 to 3 years. He's going to tell you to make sure you're ready, and you have to decide when you're ready. But he does want you to put your best foot forward. And I really like that about his presentation and his interviews and dialogue. But his episode 9 was talking about confidence. And that particularly affected me because I sort of had to admit that I've lost a lot of confidence in the last number of years. I really walked away from performing on camera for the most part back in 2005. And I had just started to kind of get some level of success. I'd worked on a film, my last project when I was really committed to acting at the time was a film with Dennis Hopper and C. Thomas Howell and a couple of other people. And what was really, I was starting to have, my sight was starting to deteriorate in 2001. And after 2005, I know a certain amount of stress added to it, and I lost some self-confidence and allowed myself to get into some challenged relationships that propelled forward for the better part of eight or so years, up until about 2017. And I haven't really recovered from that completely. It's my fault, not theirs. Decisions I made were mine. But it affected my confidence, and knowing where my sight is now, that's changed some aspects of like my feeling of maneuverability compared to what it used to be. And acting, performing has always been a great love of mine. And I don't really want to do it for fame. There was a time when I always imagined Kingsley Martin is, whatever. But now it's a matter of Kingsley just wants to perform because I enjoy it, And I remember that time when I was 9 and people were crying when I was doing a play because they just were enthralled and in love with watching their children and watching kids do something cute. And that's really what actors are, no matter what age you are. We're big kids. And there are some in the group that are fortunate to be what Crispin Freeman describes as a professional actor. Someone who plays pretend so well that people are willing to pay you for it. And confidence is something I'm struggling with right now. But I really want to work on it more and stop letting the change in my sight and stop letting what I've let my body become, stop letting that keep me from moving forward. We gotta move forward. We're always falling back. So, let's see what time it is here. Oh, right at about 34 minutes. So, I'm going to say goodbye for now. I hope you have a beautiful day. It's cooler here in Texas, which I like. I think the low is like 40 degrees, 45 degrees this morning, which is nice. I love cool weather, sweater weather. And I have 2 beautiful dogs. They're only too happy to curl up next to me because they're so sweet. My little Amadeus and my Simba. They're going to be 6 years old this year. And somehow I feel like I don't think I've given them as much as they deserve. They're beautiful, beautiful little boys who have so much love in their hearts. So go home, hug your puppy, hug your kids, sing for them, inspire them to be playful, support them in whatever they want to be. Encourage them to try it. And if first they don't succeed, try again. No matter what you believe about whether Edison really did the light bulb or not, or if it was Tesla or whatever else, the story of inspiration is took Edison 9,999 missteps in making a light bulb before the 10,000th one worked. And someone asked him, why did you keep doing it when it took you so long to get to that, and you didn't figure out how it took you 10,000 times to figure out how to make a light bulb? So what was the point of those other 9,999 tries? And I'm sure I'm butchering the story, but the effect was, he said, I didn't fail 9,999 times. I just found 999,000 ways how not to make a light bulb. And be happy. Be happy today and every day. Love the people you're with. Don't forget to tell them you love them. Life's precious. So are you. God bless. See ya. And cut.